Metroid. It's time to talk about what many people consider not only the best Metroid game, but one of the best games, period. I never really understood that when I came across this game. My first Metroid game was Metroid Fusion, and compared to that game, I didn't think it was all that great, despite the fact that it was called Super Metroid. But it's gotta have something that makes it have that title. So let's find out.
Well, now we're on the Super Nintendo. With two games that were good at best, we can finally get to the game that can improve the possibilities of what a real space adventure can be like. The Super Nintendo was a powerhouse that made already established franchises a force to be reckoned with. Super Mario World, Link to the Past, and even Donkey Kong Country was a big step up from the arcade original. So Super Metroid had to be a great game alongside the other Nintendo IPs. And it did, garnering critical acclaim, and the people who played it absolutely adored it. It also sold pretty well, with 1.5 million copies sold back in the day. Now with all that mumbo jumbo out of the way, let's get to the stuff you really want to hear about. The story follows up right after the events of Metroid 2. Samus donates the baby Metroid to the Federation for research, and after she leaves, space pirates. Shocking. After getting the distress call, she flies back in a flash, though I'm pretty sure Billie Jean was playing on the radio before the pirates attacked. Oh, shit. Okay, maybe these guys were listening to Thriller before I came here. Well, at least the baby looks intact. Oh, and here's a smooth criminal. He distracts Samus long enough to beat it. Okay, I'm sorry. These were bad. I'm sorry. Stop. I'll stop. And he detonates the space station in classic fashion. A self-destruct sequence. Oh, these are fun. It looks like we're retreading Zebes once again to confront the space pirates. Hell, it's such a retread that the Morph Ball is actually in the same place as Metroid 1. And with that, of course, we have to start with Kraid, and wow, I remembered him being a lot harder than that. Oh well, time to grab my prize I get. Oh, hey buddy! You look like you've gained a little bit of weight since I last saw you. Don't worry, I'll help you lose some pounds easily. These pills are going to hurt just a little bit, but trust me, they'll do wonders for your body. Hope you tell your friends. But of course, our prize would be the suit of badass proportions, the Various suit. Heat-proof and bulky to show these punks she ain't messing around. You'll find the rest of the pirates eventually, as every one of them are required to fight, similar to how it worked in the original Metroid, statue and all. Kraid, Ridley, and Mother Brain are not the only leaders you'll be fighting though. Phantoon is the ghostly entity guarding the wrecked ship, making the entire place haunted. The guy is pretty slow, but he hurts a lot with his ghastly fire. Though other than the fire, he really isn't a problem. You will get the gravity suit after beating him and restoring the ship's power as well. And then there's Dragon, the boss in Meridia. Yeah, this guy is the most forgettable out of the pirates. Compared to an obese lizard, a scorpion-tailed dragon, a squid-like spirit, and a monstrous brain, you have a... What even is this thing? He kind of looks like a fatter version of the missing Link with lobster tail. I guess he's more like a lobster, I guess. Either way, he's kind of a pain unless you find his weakness, and you'll never guess what it is. I'm in the mood for some seafood tonight, bitch! After his defeat and his children possibly devouring him under the seabed, we collect the space jump, and holy shit, this thing is probably worse than Metroid 2. The timing seems to be super strict. You have to hit the button after you descend, but not too much, otherwise you won't be able to use it at all. It's even worse when you're trying to change direction, which even Metroid 2 let you do no problem. It's certainly a lot easier underwater or when you're doing it in a hallway for some strange reason. But it isn't very helpful since water and acid isn't very common swimming areas. It'd certainly be my least favorite item in the game, if not for one item I'll get to later. Next fight is with Ridley, the big bad #1 henchman. He wasn't too bad last time, I doubt he'd be any harder. Wait, why is he using his tail as an ow? Stop with the fireballs! How many missiles do you take? I'll make sure you suffer if it frickin' kills me. Eat my power bombs, you... Okay, he's a lot tougher in this fight. Apparently his weakness is using a missile, super missile, and a charged plasma beam in that order. But damn, it's tough to do while he's flying around, and the select interface makes changing to those items a little slow and clunky. Nevertheless, he can still be taken down, and the baby seems to be missing. But at least there's an energy tank, as usual. After the defeat of all 4 of Mother Brain's lackeys, we destroy the magical statue and head into Turian, where holy shit, I thought I killed all you bastards! Ugh, after this, I'm gonna have to wash this down. What the hell? Stay back, little fella. Stay back. Damn it, you Oh. That's odd. Wait. Little Sam, is that you? Wow, you've grown so... Wait, little Sam, come back. It's your mama. Oh well, be free, my little one. You will be missed. Anyway, Mother Brain. At least the little spaghetti-looking things don't do a lot of damage, and the barriers don't take a lot to remove. Also, Mother Brain doesn't attack you for some reason. Well, that's good, at least all I have to worry about are these spaghettios with a screw attack. After another health program success, the room collapses and Mother Brain's corpse just lays there. And the game kinda ends with that odd... Actually, no, the fight is still going, and this bitch just doesn't know when to die. Charge beam, missiles, super missiles, she's gonna take a ton of punishment while dealing a ton of punishment of her own with bomb rocks and bullshit! And then her rainbow beam of destruction, you'll need a couple of energy takes on hand for this. And before she could shoot another beam at Samus and end her off, the baby latches onto her and saps her energy, following up with giving us the exact same energy, as well as the hyper beam after... You son of a bitch! I want to send you to hell for this atrocity! Well, after all of that, she crumbles into the dust and... Are you serious? Son of a bitch, son of a bitch, son of a bitch, son of a bitch. Oh, thank Lord. I think I missed something. The big bosses are the highlight, but I didn't talk about the mini-bosses. Like the two Torizo statues that give you the bombs at the beginning, and the second statue at the tail end of the game giving you the screw attack. But I gotta say, the second one was a little too easy for me. I'm not sure why, I can't really put my finger on it. Batoon and Meridia is strangely more interesting than the actual boss, despite the fact that it's just a fire-spewing serpent. And of course, we can't not talk about Crocomire. A pretty cool looking monster with a pretty neat battle idea. Push Crocomire into the acid before he pushes you into a wall of spikes. Yeah, it's really easy not to get hit with the spikes. A little easy, but Crocomire gets burned brutally, which is kind of disturbing to look. Yeah! Oh god, that's horrifying. There are other baddies around, but honestly they aren't as big of an impact as the rest. I'm surprised I even talked about the oversized shrimp. The story's out of the way, so let's talk about the game itself. At this point in the series, you're giving a little bit of freedom. While the original game was very non-linear, I'd say this game does it a lot better. It actually helps that this game has an in-game map, the first in the series, and it's really helpful for the most parts. Except for a couple of things. Energy tanks, missiles, and the new super missiles are scattered across the worlds. And while the map does help tell you where items are, it doesn't really tell you where you have been and what items you've collected. It does tell you about the new rooms, like the save room, map room, and the recharge room. The save and recharge rooms are super helpful, and you're going to be using them a lot. This game is definitely great for speedrunning, with the new map feature as well as most of the items being mostly optional. I researched how many items are required to beat the game, and this is where I was reintroduced to the low percent runs. Super Metroid can be beaten with 0%, but you have to take advantage of glitches in order to do so. 14 is the lowest percent glitchless, and the items you need, no exceptions, are the Morph Ball, 4 of a combination of missiles and super missiles, bombs, at least 1 power bomb, the Vari-Suit, Charge Beam, 3 of a combination of energy tanks or reserve tanks which make a debut in this game, and never again until Samus returns via the Zero Suit Samus amiibo. You also need a combination of... well, I'll just let you look at that for yourself. Everything else is completely optional, even the space jump, mostly because of the 2 new abilities in this game, the wall jump and the shine spark. Wall jumping is learned by these monkey creatures called Edecoons, and it's simple to understand. Hit the jump button while pressing the opposite side from the wall you're on. Unfortunately, it's a tad clunky, and like the space jump, the timing seems a little too strict. The other ability, the shine spark, is learned by the Dakara, this ostrich-like animal, and this ability is 100% awesome! It requires a speed booster, pressing down after you get the after images, and swoosh! It does sap a lot of your health, but I don't care, this is awesome. I'm surprised I didn't use this a lot in the actual game, maybe I was a little too stubborn with the space jump. At least it's awesome enough to appear in every game with the already awesome speed booster, which also makes a debut in this game. Basically it's, well, a speed boost and demolishes everything in your path. I love any ability that kills everything in one simple touch. The 4 beams return and they actually stack, thank Lord. I actually didn't get the wave beam, I kinda skipped it somehow. But I did grab the ice, phaser, and plasma beams, and it was pretty fun to have all of these in one powerful beam. Though it would have been a lot better with a wave beam. Oh well. The new grapple beam is amazing to use to climb or swing to. I know I said my adoration for this in Zero Mission and Samus Returns, but really that's the weird part of doing the remakes with the original videos. And really I didn't talk about it too much outside of the new things you can do with it. The last new item is the X-Ray Scope. This is, by far, the worst item in any Metroid game, period. It just reveals hidden items while staying still. Absolutely riveting. There is a glitch you can do with the X-ray scope and the speed booster, but that's not very interesting to me. Speaking of which, this game has plenty of those to try out, but some crash your game if you don't do it right, and as far as I'm aware, these aren't very easy to pull off. I'll just play the game normally, thanks. As usual, let's end things off with the presentation. And I have to admit, this is probably the best looking and sounding game in the series. Yeah, even compared to the remakes, as great looking as those are. It looks very crisp and very well animated. I think the colors help with that as well, but I think Fusion might rival it in that regard. We'll get to that next time though. As for the music, like I said, I think it's the best in the series. No contest in this regard though. I just think the compositions are amazing. I love hearing the overworld theme. Ridley's theme appears during half of the boss fights and the self-destruct sequences, and every area theme is amazing. Energetic and atmospheric at the same time, and I love it. And of course, who doesn't remember the item fanfare? The sound design is also worth noting. Beam, charge, and missile shots are very crunchy. Jumping and screw attacking is very great to hear, and the speed booster it's the freaking speed booster. Super Metroid is absolutely amazing. Everything people say about this game is mostly true. The story is simple but effective, the presentation is amazing, the control is tight and fun outside of the wall jumping and space jump, as well as the worst item in Metroid history, and the combat is satisfying. It's always awesome to find the quicker ways to kill the bosses and mini-bosses. It's just a great game.
Nothing else to say, really. Nothing else to say, really. It may not be my favorite in the series, but that doesn't really mean anything. I still love it, just like everyone else who played this game. But I want to take attention to the two comics based on Super Metroid. One of them was released in the US, and it's not really a different story from the game. It just has extra characters that I'm pretty sure was in the Japanese-only prequel comic. I should talk about those. Those are Metroid related. Maybe soon. There's also another Japan-only comic, and it's supposed to be a more comical version of Super Metroid, and I absolutely laughed for the entirety of it. Seeing Samus as this goofy, somewhat ditzy woman is kind of funny, and I kind of liked it. I highly recommend reading the Super Metroid comics, as well as the abundance of Metroid-related comics that apparently exist. I'll put in the description the link to a site that actually has all of these Metroid-related comics. They really are a fun read. And with that, I am completely done talking about Super Metroid. So, next time, I hope to see you all with Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. With that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll play with you guys